It's River City Folk, a production of Studio B in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm your host, Tom May. Join me as we visit with artists from across North America and share songs and stories from a living folk tradition. You are listening to River City Folk, a weekly broadcast of live performance, musical influences, and interview this week from Studio B in Omaha, Nebraska. Welcome to all the folks who are listening from Talkeetna, Alaska, all the way down to West Palm Beach, Florida. Thanks for tuning in. We've got some good bluegrass for you. This is the Dirty River Ramblers. Where is this dirty river of which you speak, Josh Crone? I've always wondered that since the first time I saw the name.
Well, the Dirty River is a little bit ubiquitous. It's wherever you want it to be, really. We've got one that runs pretty much right through our two towns here, which, that does for us. There's also lots of little offshoots that are very nice.
The muddy river of the Missouri between Council Bluffs, Iowa, and Omaha, Nebraska. Josh Crone on the banjo on that last tune. What was your earliest introduction to bluegrass you remember, Josh, that really kind of brought you in?
That's really hard to say. I've got a later in life experience with bluegrass that really brought me in, but early in life my family played old country music and some old bluegrass. I grew up listening to Doc Watson and maybe a little bit of Flatt and Scruggs and stuff like that, and I didn't realize it at the time. I knew that some of it really hooked me, and some of it I just don't remember. But
this is at least your second bluegrass group that I know of, so it hooked you pretty good.
It did hook me pretty good. And like I said, it was a later in life experience that got me there. I went to a festival in Oregon in 2003 and saw a bunch of bluegrass bands there, and newgrass, really, not so much bluegrass, but it took me back to what I used to be able to play. I'm thinking, why am I not doing that?
That's right, and once you get it in your blood, you're going to be doing it again and again. Josh Corrigan is over here on guitar on that last piece of music that we just heard, the first piece, The Lost Weekend. What was your first moment in bluegrass music, Josh?
Funny enough, it was seeing reruns of the Grand Ole Opry on television when I was a little kid. You know, I'd flip through and see these weird guys on stage in sequin outfits, you know, sitting there picking banjos. Like, that's kind of weird, but kind of came to love it and refined my tastes a little bit through time here, but...
Oh, you can't have a good bluegrass band without a mandolin, that exquisite little 8-stringed instrument over there. And Justin is playing that, Justin Kephart. What was your first introduction to this style of music, Justin?
Well, I kind of had the same background as Josh Crone. My family was very musical. You know, my grandpa played fiddle and whatnot. My dad was a guitar player, but later in life I got into the Grateful Dead and so forth, the Old and in the Way.
And we're going to hear them in just a couple of minutes. I just also want to introduce Chris over there on the upright bass, keeping everything together right in the middle. And, of course, on guitar, second guitar over here, we've got Mace Hathaway and playing some mean guitar and singing some wonderful harmonies as well. We're going to hear a recording right now that you chose for us to hear. You all chose. And it is Old and in the Way. Jerry Garcia and David Grisman, this collaboration they did way back in the 70s. Why does this recording still resonate with you, Josh Crone?
Well, it's just a great recording, first of all. You know, it's really kind of the quintessential sound of bluegrass. It's down home, especially the recording we brought. You know, it's just the guys jamming around a few microphones and having fun. That's really what it's about.
If you ever feel lonesome and you're down in San Antonio, beg, steal, or borrow 2 nickels or a dime, call me on the phone. I'll meet you in Alamo Mission, where we can celebrate. The Holy Ghost and the Virgin Mother will heal us.
Annie went out walking late last Sunday evening, searching for a bottle in the moonlight and dim. Somewhere in the darkness, in the madness, she passed over. The whiskey gave her wings and she flew off again. There's laws upon the mountain, just like in the city, with justice as swift as it is sure. When they find a man that took her, he'll be swinging from an old box elder as the turkey vultures cackle and send him home again. Oh, copper-coiled daydream, feeling my fever, journey me back top the old ridge today. Drown all my sorrows and lonely tomorrows. The sour mash wind blows my troubles. Nothing like these hills to soothe my soul. I try to lose all my troubles and woes. Pray there's a path to end all this pain. 1, 2, 3. Crooked creek drips down with fear, and the dogs just like the wolves howl the moon. Here and there and everywhere there's fiery signs, you best beware. Crossing them folks you'd have to be a fool. Crossing them folks you'd have to be a fool. You have to be a fool.
The Dirty River Ramblers on River City Folk with a piece of music called Copper Coiled Daydream. They were preceded by Old and In the Way, a song called Midnight Moonlight. Mace Hathaway over here, you wrote and sang that song, a very complex piece of music with the different tempo changes throughout. What was the inspiration for that particular tune? I enjoyed it when I first heard it on the album, and you guys did a great job with it live right here.
The kind of descending lick that starts at the beginning was how it started, and I was just playing it around in the garage, and then brought it and played a little bit with Justin, and then a friend of ours, Ben Brockway, basically sat down and listened to me play it, and he's like, do this, and he just told me 2 different chords, and that changed the whole thing, and then it became a song within a few days, and went home and wrote some words for it, and moonshine is always there for me. So
the moonshine is one of those subjects you can't lose with
right.
in country or bluegrass music, but the copper coiled daydream, just the idea of that. What gave you that kind of thread to build the song around?
That was actually before the lyrics were written too. Like, we had put together some parts, and then we sat and jammed one night again in Chris's shop, and I just threw out those words, and someone was like, "Whoa, that's great! That's a great name." And so that's when the words came after that. I kind of went home and thought to myself, what would a copper coiled daydream be? And someone actually, the song is obviously, if people listen to it, they'll see that it's about someone who's moonshining and ends up in a murder, basically in a murder ballad or whatever you want to call it.
I gathered that the ending didn't turn out well for that particular person. On that particular song, too, I will just mention that Josh Corrigan switched and was playing banjo there, and Josh Crone switched from banjo to fiddle, and Josh was doing the banjo on that tune. Very, very nice arrangement, guys. You've got another recording for us to hear right now, and it's by the Grisman Quartet this time, and even though it's David Grisman again, it's a little bit different kind of a sound than the David Grisman that we heard on the Old and In the Way. This is more of his jazz group that he worked with for many years. What made you all decide to choose this particular song for us to hear, Josh?
Well, I think you're going to find that Grisman is running a very strong thread throughout all of our inspirations here today. Well, he's just really good, and he has played with everybody. And as far as his original music, his original compositions, there's very few people that really match what he has gone into, the depth that he's delved into. He has taken bluegrass and turned it on its ear and pushed it in all the directions that Bill Monroe never really imagined possible. And it's just a lot of fun.
always gotta work that way. Sugar in the kitchen and ants on the floor, mighty long line of them right out the door. Mama fell asleep with the pies in the oven, wishing she'd drink she gets from a cousin. Step fine with crow of a dog won't end. Floppy had gone and a one-legged hen argued this morning about her friends again. Sitting in the flower bed, wishing somebody would scratch his head. Long John line and the rains are coming. My mama fell asleep on the outdoor plumbing. Sitting and swaying and staring at me. She'd fly away, but I gotta stay. Why's it always gotta work that way? Little red bird in a tall oak tree, sitting and swaying and staring at me. She'd fly away, but I gotta stay. Why's it always gotta work that way?
The Dirty River Ramblers on River City Folk. Josh Crone, Josh Corrigan, Chris Huntke, Mace Hathaway, and Justin Kephart with a piece of music called Red Bird. Very well done, guys. It was very enjoyable to hear that. They were preceded by a tune by the Grisman Quartet called Slade. Josh Crone over here, you played banjo on that last tune, and I was remarking that most bluegrass banjo players play a scrug style with thumb pick and finger picks, but you do more of the old-time frailing style banjo on the five-string banjo, and I really enjoy that style. What prompted that method of playing?
Well, it was the first kind that I wanted to learn how to play, because you can sit and play banjo by yourself when you play clawhammer, and it's good. Not for lack of trying with the scrug style. I am working on it, and I do break out the picks every now and then and inflict them on everyone.
Well, it works very well. There's something very organic about the frailing style, old-time style banjo performing that I enjoy a great deal, so thanks so much for that.
Thank you.
We're going to hear another song in just a couple of minutes from the Dirty River Ramblers. It's a song called Minnesota Cabin, and Josh Corrigan, you told me there was a story behind this song.
Yeah, I wrote this tune about my folks' place up in Minnesota near Hibbing. We had a nice old cabin on the land, and it suffered an ill fate, I suppose, and that's kind of what the song's about.
So hopefully they got to hear the song, too, since you've written it.
Yes. Family's very supportive, always comes out and see us, and it's great to see them at shows. So,
well, we're going to hear right now, again, the Dirty River Ramblers on River City Folk with a song called Minnesota Cabin.
Just a few miles down the Beauty Mountain Road is the finest place I ever know, where I spent many a summer as a child. To the great woods of the north, we drive back and forth, and every trip was better than the last. Waiting for us up there state of disrepair. It was our home away from home at the top of the hill. We'd pull on in the middle of the night, unpack our things in the pale moonlight, look up at most stars than you'll ever see. Was the best place around, but we had to tear it down. You could look out through the trees, see for miles. It was far from the town, there weren't nobody around, at my Minnesota hilltop country cabin home. Up some rickety stairs and right through the door, you walk back into the days of yore. Light a kerosene lamp, put a log on the stove, head to the kitchen to make a meal that you might find to be a big ordeal. Well, there were squirrels in the cupboards and the fridge was full of bees. Oh, those critters would come from many a mile, they'd come inside to give us a smile, chase us back out and watch us run in the woods, where there was a smell of mossy earth and the trees were made of paper birch. You find a trail to the lake that'll take you there and back again. Was the best place around, but we had to tear it down. You could look out through the trees and see for miles. It was far from the town, there weren't nobody around, at a Minnesota hilltop country cabin home. Glorified double wide, and the paneling on the walls was a touch of class. But even though this mobile home was better suited for Arizona, well, that old girl, she could sure put up a fight. For many a winter, the wind did blow, and it covered her up in ice and snow. And old Jack Frost tried to bring her down, but the seasons change and it came to pass that her time was up, and so it was at last. The roof collapsed, it fell to the ground. Was the best place around, but we had to tear it down. You could look out through the trees and see for miles. It was far from the town, there weren't nobody around, at a Minnesota hilltop country cabin home. Well, at my Minnesota hilltop country cabin home.
The Dirty River Ramblers on River City Folk with a song about that old Minnesota cabin. I'd like to say hello to all the folks who have listened to the program for many years in my hometown of Omaha, Nebraska, where we are today recording the show at Studio B. Thanks for listening on radio station KIOS-FM this past many years. I will be back with more of my interview in just a moment. This is River City Folk. Josh, since you've done this album called Ramble On, I know it's opened a lot of doors for you and gotten you to play on a lot of stages you hadn't experienced.
It's true, actually. The having the album is a great business card. It's a great way to get your name out there and let people experience your music without having to go to their hometown to get there.
And just to give us a rundown, what are some of the places that you've gotten to go out and see and play these tunes?
Sure. Well, since we published the album, we've been out to Colorado, Wisconsin, Chicago, up to Alaska, all over Iowa, down into Kansas, into Missouri. Pretty much everywhere in the region we're covering. We're working on making ever-expanding circles at this point.
The thing about bluegrass is it's a common vernacular in all those places. Everywhere you go, when you play this kind of music, you're welcomed into these festivals, and you meet people you never would have met any other way and experience things you never would have gotten a chance to experience any other way, and it's a great, great connection with folks everywhere.
There's a very supportive community of folks out there, we found.
and hundreds, literally hundreds of bluegrass festivals in the United States as well. We have another recording to hear that you all chose for us by one of my all-time favorites, John Hartford, who really changed the way that people in Nashville and around the country thought about bluegrass and the pigeonhole that it was in before John Hartford kind of blew up that enclosure with his steam-powered aeroplane album. This is from that. It's called Vamp in the Middle. And Josh Corrigan, you're going to tell us what made you guys choose this one as one of your choices.
Yeah, I think it's a fundamental track in, I guess, the formation of newgrass music, which is kind of more the path that we headed down. He introduced a whole lot of things to the music that wasn't there before, even music 10 years prior. Aeroplane was obviously a real big turning point, and I think this is a good example of his uniqueness and what that turn was.
John Hartford, with his own solo performances and his many combinations of players through the years, touched so many lives, and such a great songwriter as well. This is John Hartford on River City Folk with Vamp in the Middle.
Make my bed with a crease in the middle. Make my home in the Hollywoodish hills. Well, I'm making my living with a hillbilly fiddle, playing little runs and the funny little pills. Well, I got me a gal from playing on my fiddle, and the harder that I fiddle, oh, the harder that she comes along. But we gotta get happy when we wiggle in the middle. That's when I know when I wanna come home. Play fiddle, play all day long. I hear you screaming at me way far away in the yard. This song with a vamp in the middle. And I knew when I wrote it that I written it for the fiddle. Play fiddle, play all day long. I hear you screaming at me oh, far away in the yard. Well, I wrote this song with a vamp in the middle. And I knew when I wrote it that I written it for the fiddle. Play fiddle, play all day long. I hear you screaming at me way far away in the yard.
Way out past the shotgun blasted stop sign, the quarry grove. Where you first told me you were mine, I remember it so clear. Though I lost track of the years, I know it was a long, long time ago. That swimming hole, oh, where everyone would go off the beaten path, past the circle in the road. It was magic, metamorphic, and marvelous indeed. Couldn't wait to get there and never wanted to leave a trouble county line. Bonfires burning, hippies sipping and shine. Gather round, having a good time at the Trouble County line. Trouble County line. You said love, oh, it's all we'll ever need, and it will pick up where we leave off if we cannot succeed. I should take this chance, I should take your hand, and just let myself believe in the Trouble County line. Bonfires burning, hippies sipping shine. Gather round, having a good time at the Trouble County line. Trouble County line. To the Trouble County line, bonfires burning, hippies sipping shine. Gather round, having a good time
The Trouble County Line, the Dirty River Ramblers trading licks with Mace Hathaway, who wrote that piece of music for us. And boy, that was great fun to hear. I can just see the audience is really enjoying that as you perform. It's not an easy thing to be a 5-piece band and travel all together to these various places and do these kind of engagements. And I know you must have a couple of stories about things that maybe didn't work out quite the way you expected, or people that you ran into that maybe were a bit on the quirky side. Josh Crone, you've got a story about us from the road.
Well, I've got so many, Tom. It's just a question of how to narrow them down. The Briar Patch is a wonderful experience. There's this place south of Des Moines, about 30 miles, that we've been to a couple of times with a couple of different configurations. And every time we've been there, it's been about 95 degrees and about 100% humidity. The first time we made it to this festival, there was about an inch of standing water on the ground in the amphitheater, where the ground is slanted about 30 degrees. So we had to find places to pitch our tents on top of that, so find the high ground and try to keep your stuff out of all the puddles, which are everywhere. And when we actually got on stage that night, area right in front of the stage is supposed to be the dancing pit, turned into the mud pit. And we had kids just sliding through the mud on their bellies and dogs climbing up on stage with us. That's always fun. Big muddy dogs come running across the stage and shake themselves off all over our instruments. We're still packing mud in our trailer from that.
Well, and I can imagine you must have been pretty sweaty playing in all that humidity too, let alone trying to keep your instruments in tune.
It wouldn't be summer in bluegrass if you weren't sweaty and tuning your instruments.
There's no doubt about that. We've got one more recording to hear today that you've chosen for us to hear by Jerry Garcia, who of course has been very important to you. Jerry Garcia, who performed with the Grateful Dead, but also had an entirely separate life, playing all kinds of different music with all kinds of different people, bluegrass being one of his great loves. What is it about this Jerry Garcia song, Just Have to Get My Baby Out of Jail, that you enjoy so much?
It was on the Jerry Garcia, I think it was called the Acoustic Band album, and it was just one of the very first albums I ever had, and I like every song on the album, but that one there just kind of stood out to... It's got the sorrowful part of bluegrass, where people will do anything to make the other people around them happy, even if it means something that normal people wouldn't do.
I'm not in this town to stay, said a lady old and gray. I'm just here to get my baby out of jail. Yes, warden, I'm just here to get my baby out of jail. I will wash all your clothes, I will scrub all your floors, if that will get my baby out of jail. Yes, warden, I'm just here to get my baby out of jail. Chain. I will pawn you my gold diamond ring. Yes, warden, I'm just here to get my baby out of jail. Swung wide apart, she held her darling to her heart. She kissed her baby boy and then she cried. Yes, warden, in the arms of her dear boy there she
died. Yes, Fordham, in the arms of her dear boy, there she died.
We heard two pieces of music there, beginning with Jerry Garcia, Just Here to Get My Baby Out of Jail. That was followed by the Dirty River Ramblers with their piece of music called Carpskin Boots. The Dirty River Ramblers are Josh Crone on banjo and on fiddle, Josh Corrigan on fiddle and guitar, Chris Huntke on bass, who started us off with a lovely bowed bass beginning to that last piece of music. Mace Hathaway on guitar, and Mace Hathaway adding those beautiful harmonies and the lovely songs that he's written and playing some smoking lead guitar over there. And finally, Justin Kephart on the mando and on the vocals too. You guys have done a great job today. There's a website you've got, Josh, to promote the CD that you all have done. So what is that website address? People can go back and find out more about your music.
That website's very easy to find, dirtyriverramblers.com.
And also an email address so people can say, I heard you on River City Folk up in Alaska or down in Florida, and I enjoyed it, and I just want to say hello.
Certainly. That's info@dirtyriverramblers.com.
So please do take a little bit of time and drop a note to our musicians. It always tickles them, and it's fun to get that kind of mail. You've got one more piece of music that you're going to play for us today to take us out. What is this last song going to be?
This last song is one that we've been kicking around for a number of years. Actually, is older than the band. I wrote this probably about 7 or 8 years ago, and you just can't let good songs die.
It's been a delight having you all on the show today. Thanks for coming in and doing some great picking and singing for us. We really appreciate it. been listening to River City Folk, a production of Studio B in Omaha, Nebraska. Today's program was recorded and mastered by Clete Baker with assistance from Patrick Muselik at Studio B. Be sure to visit our website at rivercityfolk.org. I'm your host, Tom May. Thanks for listening.